entrance.
Oh man, I'm getting super unfit now.
Okay, we gotta put this on.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
only...
1, 2, 3.
Let's do this. It is the very last episode of this season.
Yeah, oh, we've been together for this whole season. Isn't it crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And we've met each other, I think, for the first time season 2.
Yes, I remember that experience.
Oh, look at that, yes! That's exactly the first time that we worked together.
I was a lot fatter back then.
Well, you know what I really thought about you during that time?
What?
Spill
the beans.
I thought you were a little bit verbose, and I was a little bit tired. It got my head a little bit tired.
I was about to say something quite the opposite. I was about to say it was a very lovely experience.
Of course.
I felt inspired.
Oh, that's so nice.
By you.
Of course,
on the
by our
very
guests.
first episode. I didn't think that you were so judgmental to me at the time.
I'm not, though. I just said that my brain got tired. It doesn't mean that I was judging you.
Fine. Okay. Well, how have I been doing this season?
Well, we've been talking a lot about many, many things. And we've had our cats and dogs moments.
Cats and dogs now. Yeah.
We've also had our sentimental moments, right? And I think it's quite fun to have you on the show. It really is.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be honest, you've grown a lot on me this season, and not just this season, like, you know, the entire process of working with you in particular and the entire IELTS FACE-OFF team. Shout out to all of you guys. You've all liberated me in a way because I was a bit of a stiff boy and who was always too serious about work. You've loosened me up a little bit, put me in my own element, and now I'm feeling like a changed man. Yeah.
Sometimes I think you're a little bit too loose, though. Especially, you know, sometimes when your shirt gives way to certain body parts that shows through quite clearly.
You know what? You love picking on me, but there's someone who's quite similar to me. I always see him as the bromance of my IELTS FACE-OFF life. He and I share a lot in common. Guess those three things are.
And what is that? Oh, I know. Kids, wife,
Yep,
butts.
you're onto something.
So those are 3 things.
Absolutely, yep, you got it. So, please give it up for our guest for today, the one and only...
On the screen.
My name is Tung. I'm the co-proprietor of the IELTS Workshop, an IELTS training center aimed at closing the gap between test prep English and actual English. The IELTS is an all-consuming, all-encompassing passion of mine. A normal day for me involves teaching, writing books, shooting videos, researching the IELTS, and chauffeuring my wife around town. Since summer 2017, I've been fortunate enough to add segment host to my resume, and I just love being on the road with the IELTS Face-Off crew.
Our friend for many seasons. I wonder where he is.
I love him so much.
You love him so much. I wonder how deep that love is. So let's welcome our friend.
Love of my life.
Đặng, where are you?
Come out, buddy. Come out, Tùng. Give it up for Michael.
How are you?
Very nice to
So
see
nice
you.
to see you.
Again?
Again.
I think for the very first time. Come on, give it up. Get in here. Get in here.
Can we do it for a long time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, get in there. That's right, you're getting none of this. All right, let's get you seated.
Yes. I was backstage and I was hearing you guys talking so affectionately about me, and I was like, you know, a hug is in order.
Did you get all teary and emotional in there?
Definitely, yeah.
Well, you know, one of the things that you have that I think turns a lot of people on is the fact that you got a 9.0.
Oh, wow.
Many, many, many times. How does that feel? And why are you aiming for these 9 so many times?
For me personally, because I teach the IELTS, I figure getting a 9 is, you know, the sense of validation that I needed, you know, to stand up there in front of my students and teaching them all these things. You don't really need a 9 to teach the IELTS, right? I mean, teachers do need to get to a certain level, for sure, but I think a 9 was just sort of like my white whale.
White whale?
Yeah, being an IELTS teacher, that's what I always, you know, aim for.
Have you always been this prodigy, this you know, English-speaking prodigy, Were you born with it, or did you have to overcome a lot of difficulties? If there have been any, could you share with us?
Prodigy is a little bit of an overkill. I went to English, cram classes like most people, but I was never able to really excel. So for my entire academic life, so to speak, as well as my professional life, I've never really stood out or associated myself with, English excellence or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a bit hard to believe. So would you say that all of those experiences of yours, of encountering all these challenges of learning English as a second language, do you reckon all those things make you the teacher that you are today?
Definitely. I would think of myself as first and foremost a learner before I'm a teacher. The more I teach, the more I realize that I need to get taught. And it really pushes me to always keep moving forward, because I realize along the way that, there are so many people who are infinitely more talented than I am, and they don't even bother with the IELTS. They have grander ambitions, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a really humbling experience.
You and I were both family men here, right? I keep wondering, obviously now you've become a bit of a famous, people recognize you, a lot of people look up to you. How is the wifey taking all that, and how do you manage between that and spending time with your loved ones?
My wife is extremely accommodating, and she's really understanding through all this. She manages the company, so she's taking care of the business side of things, so I can focus on the more technical, academic, boring. So yeah, I'm really fortunate to have a wife like that, and I don't know how she juggles between managing a company and managing a family, and she's still taking care of our daughter. She's a superwoman.
Aww, how do you guys feel about all that? So I can see that we've got 4 chairs here, which is that void is a little bit empty, and I feel like it's a bit awkward. Is there any way we could accommodate another host for tonight?
No, I think we definitely want to accommodate a student of his.
A student of his?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Do you know anyone?
I think your students are really good.
I have a lot of students. I don't know if I can ring anyone up right now and just tell them to come to, the set.
I think there's a student that's really, really good, and we're both familiar with her too.
Sorry for being a bit slow here, but can you give me some more hints on who
she
she might
speaks 7
be?
languages, she's really pretty, she's really cool, she's really cute. What is her name?
Thank you so much. Ooh.
Welcome to the Circle of Love.
Yeah, thank you for such a warm welcome.
How's your experience been so far? You've been the star for many, many, many years.
No, I've never been a star, but thank you anyway. Because I remember I first met you when I was 17 years old. I first met you when I was 18 years old, and I've just turned 20 this year.
I'm so touched that she's remembered us by the years of her age.
I'm just hurt. I'm not mentioned.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Tung Dang, because I've just met you last year.
Wait, you met him last year. So how is it that he's your teacher? What did you need to learn from him last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from Mr. Tung Dang. Because I think that he has all of the qualities that I'm looking for in a best teacher. You couldn't imagine how passionate he is when he is in the class. I really like his passion for and his deep knowledge of the subject, English. So he really passes the desire to learn more, to dig deeper, to think harder onto the students. So yeah, that's what I like about the teacher.
But now that you've taken the stage, now that you have come here, you're obviously the star of the show now. It's not Phoebe, it's not me, it's not Tùng anymore. It's all about you now. Have you grown as a presenter, as a celebrity, as a singer, along the process of this show?
I'm not a singer, actually. I don't sing really beautifully.
How about the envy that's just saw of you dancing like a true party animal? That was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
you
thank
guys
you
see that?
anyway.
Yeah, it's you are my sweetie pie.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, can you give us a few phrases?
Yeah, my-
I wrote that part actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that part in like 5 minutes because the deadline was coming up, and I was like, yeah, I have to. I write down everything. But okay, let's give it a shot.
Woo!
Yeah.
Give it up for Khánh.
Thank you so much. Love you or not, should I make up my mind? Tell you or not, should I give you a sign? My ego is too big, though I want your lips on mine. Don't you know that you're my sweetie pie? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So have you had a lot of lips on yours?
Yeah, I have to think a little bit about it.
Oh, she was, she was like, yeah. And then she ended it with, I have to think a little bit. So that's a yes, but then she has to think about how many.
Okay.
How have you grown, because he's grown a lot, he just told me in the beginning. And then we'll talk about how Tung has grown as well. And then so how have you grown from the first time we met?
Hemskt wack, you live it a humble, live it cautious, someone between like rock, your cuss, this would again, no, you can't copy up that. Moonwalking, this here is a party. My past has been on Broadway, and we did it real with grown music. I shed my skin and put my bones into everything I recall, so wet, and yet of all, let the stage light go and shine on down. Got the ball, burger, suit, game, and plinkle, and my style.
For the past 3 years, I've been able to gather quite a bit of wisdom.
Yeah.
And I think the greatest lesson I've ever learned for the past 3 years is that I still have a lot to learn. I'm really thankful for every alignment experiences that I have. And what I've just learned when I'm doing some YouTube stuff, or when I'm being the host of the IELTS on the Go or Good TV7, is that I want to share knowledge with others. Because sharing knowledge is kind of really beautiful when you share knowledge with someone. Just not really knowledge, but what you know. You could create more space. You're ready for new learning, and that others will learn together with you. And you would just create the whole community of learning like that. So it's really beautiful. That's what I think I experienced so far.
Can you top that? Do you reckon? How have you grown?
Actually, when talking about growth, I actually think that over the past 2 or 3 seasons that I've been on the show, I've actually shrunk as a physical person. When I first came on the show, I think I weighed about nearly 100 kilograms.
Wow.
There's a lot of comments on the live stream of V interviewing me. 90% of them are like, this guy is so freaking fat, and the other 10%, were telling me to lose weight. So
I get comments like, oh, she looks like a horse. Now I sound like one.
Yeah,
but in a good way.
But now, if you're keen on a weight loss program, you know where to go. Sign up to be a host of IELTS FACE-OFF.
Yeah, it's the body shaming. I mean, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. So yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I learned from the show. I also learned a whole lot from you guys on how to host. I've actually applied a lot of that in the classroom, and it actually helped my teaching a lot. So I have a lot to be thankful for.
No, you know what? I think a lot of people in our studio today, as well as all of the hosts here, would agree with me that you've got your own style of presenting. And I really think your style of presenting is very academic, very educational, very informative. You've changed a lot of people's lives, I've got to say. Do you guys agree?
I just think that, just to see everybody here today is such a blessing. It's really, really, and I think, we're still missing a few people. So I'm not exactly sure, but V, we met many, many years ago, but now if you were to pick somebody that you'd host with, who would that be?
Oh, man.
That's pretty a tough question because I love all of you, my favorite people.
She's
but
hedging.
But, there's a but.
She's hedging.
There's a but. Yeah, there's a but. I prefer younger ones. I met her 3 years ago. Yeah, when we were just like 17, 18-year-old girls. And she is really witty, she's pretty, and she's really endearing. And you all know her.
Who is she?
Who is she? That is my younger little sister, Nguyễn Lâm Thảo Tâm.
Thảo Tâm, come out to play.
there are only
It's all
4
yours.
chairs. You guys forgot
No
about me.
problem
We
at
should
all.
be gentlemanly and give up our
Have a seat. Have a seat. Mike's gonna
you sit
stand
down.
and help
Okay.
himself.
This is my only chance to outdo you. So take it easy. I'll go and pick up that chair.
All right.
Show my muscular self. Oh, that's so heavy.
That looks heavy. Oh, wow. Give it up for Michael Lưu. The muscle man.
Yep. Oh, man. Nah, it's not as heavy as it looks. Okay, so, Tâm,
Hi, hello.
how does it feel to be the youngest person in the family?
So honestly, I just feel very honored just to be able to be here with you guys and sitting with these amazing people who have a goal set out for them, and that goal is to bring education, especially English education, closer to the public. And yeah, it's just a really, really great experience, and I'm just very lucky to be able to have that at this age. Yeah.
Your mom always travels with you, right? Is your mom here today?
No, I'm traveling here alone. I'm 18 this year.
That is
Take
something
advantage.
new.
Here's to 18.
I am. I'm turning 19. Oh, wait, because I'm 1 year older than you.
All of these
right,
people, 18 or 19, big difference.
I'm 19 now. Yeah. It's been
They're
such
arguing about
such a
their
time
youth.
leap. Yeah, it's been such a time leap because the first time I was here, I was 16 years old or 17 or something.
Okay, stop
Very-
rubbing it in. We know we're old. All right?
Of course, sure.
Cool.
I'll stop now.
Kids, these days.
Of course, today we're going to have an opportunity for the audience members to be asking questions to everybody. A lot of them are fans of Khánh, Thảo Tâm, Đặng, Tùng, Michael Lưu, right? And today we're going to open the opportunity for everybody to ask some really, really good questions. So are you guys ready to answer?
Sure. Fire away.
Fire away, audience. You
All right,
have the
audience, do you
ladies.
guys have any questions?
Hi everyone, I'm Ling and I'm from Hanoi University. And I have a question, is that do you have any idea of figuring out what type of learner you are? Like auditory, tactile, or visual? When you combine 3 of them, it's kind of distracted. So how can I combine and to choose what's suitable for me?
Thank you, Ling, for the question. There are obviously very different types of learners. I would say that most people are visual. I mean, it's not a statistical conclusion or anything like that, but I would say that most people are visual. They're enticed by images and other visual means of studying. So for me, I mean, in the context of learning English, usually I would associate like new words with feelings or pictures. I would visualize things, and it doesn't need to have anything to do with the definition of the word per se. I mean, it just needs to evoke a feeling. But that's what I focus on, is that it needs to be attached to like a picture. One of the things that really helped me to improve my English proficiency when I was in the States was actually not talking to native speakers, because I'm kind of a hermit. I'm usually in my room, minding my own business and reading comic books. And I didn't, set out to learn vocabulary. I just wanted to read comics.
Yeah.
But I mean, along the way, I picked up a lot of new words, and it was a very natural process.
Yeah.
But it was because, I attached those words to like
Certain images. certain
images
figures.
and panels of, like drawings. So that's just how I learn, is through visual means.
It's very interesting that you mentioned learning visually and attaching images to concepts. And I think Lynn was referring to other concepts as well, and like how to choose which would be the correct one for you, and what would happen if that correct one became tiresome in the long run. And I believe there was a scientific study that was debunking the theory that people were divided into visual learners, tactile learners, or auditory learners. And it really is, to me, it's more about experimenting and just letting yourself be able
Tried
to
everything.
grow in comfort with all of it, and then just switching around with them. Yeah,
I think that's fantastic. Do we have any other questions in the audience right now?
Hello everybody, I'm Zin, and the problems in my life is how to balance my own works. So I just want to know about some some tips about how to balance your life and do a lot of things in your life and be like a successful person. Yeah. And thank you for all of you.
Thank you for the very good question. Anybody has anything to say?
I'm just happy that she thinks that we're
successful.
you know?
Say the same
Yes,
thing.
I've made it, Mom.
This is a very, very cool question to ask a cast as such. I feel like we all lead very, very busy lives, all the five of us. Do you guys agree?
And everybody does these days.
Indeed.
For me personally, well, I don't believe in balance when you're young. That's why I'm also single. I don't have a family at the moment. A lot of my life it surrounds myself and my work and everything that I'm trying to do. You know, I'm trying to change the world. Not yet successful in that sense, but you know, step by step.
You are on the way
changed
to
all
changing
our
my world.
Yes.
But when it comes to balancing or, you know, being able to really do the things that you think are important, I think it's also important for us to be able to not be scared and just go out there and do it and really find out what our comfortable limit is. And sometimes it takes, you know, being really, really busy so that you cannot handle something. Or it might be at certain points in time where you feel a little bit overwhelmed or lost, or even a little bit upset, to kind of know what your threshold is, and that threshold is different for everybody.
I think the biggest takeaway from that is you're not committed to any kind of serious relationship. You have the room to kind of afford some imbalance in your life. But once you start taking responsibilities for other people, then you know the fact that you're not leading a balanced lifestyle takes a toll on other people as well, and that's when you should start reconsidering. But I agree that when you're young, I mean, there's balance is overrated. What about you guys? You guys are young.
So I believe you definitely have great tips to manage your schedule, because she got a scholarship at her school even though she has such a hectic schedule. So what is going on with you?
Just like Phoebe, a lot of people have asked me, are you going to school? And I was like, yes, I'm going to school every day. But the thing here is that balance is impossible because you have to be willing to make sacrifice to your work at some period of time, to your study at other period of times. You cannot be perfect all the time. Like if your work, you have a perfect day at work, but you have to accept that, yeah, this subject is not really my thing. Like I didn't do it so well. You have to accept that. But instead of just focusing on, yeah, I have to balance this, I have to balance that, we should stay healthy so that we could be fully prepared for our grown-up human being. When we get older, I think we'll have more hectic life, just as Tùng and Michael Lưu and Phoebe. Yes, we're still young. So I just focus on being healthy, doing a lot of exercises, and having a balanced diet. So that when I grow older, I would think, yeah, balance is possible, and staying healthy is also possible.
Any other questions?
Hello everyone, my name is Nhu. So today I have a question for Thảo Tâm. Actually, I followed you on Instagram for quite a long time, and I do know that you always bring a positive vibe to everyone. I want to ask, how can you maintain that positive attitude to everything in life, even when the obstacles come and, you know, like block your way?
So thank you so much for your support so far and for your question also. My relationship with Instagram started since I was in 9th grade. I always have the thought that when I post something on Instagram, it really has to be me, but it always has to be what I sincerely feel and what I feel would benefit my audience also. I think I've made it pretty clear on my social media that it's not always sunshine and rainbows for me, but I just choose to not post negative things. And yeah, because like if it's a negative thing, then if I really do need support on that, and I'm not somebody who's afraid of reaching out to get support, so I always have a system of friends and I'm close with my family. I do things on my own, like watching movies and stuff to cure that first, but I don't feel a need to spread that negativity unless it's something that is negatively affecting a wider audience and I feel like I should share my voice on that, then I would definitely do that. But yeah, so because I choose to not lean into the negative things, then the positive things kind of like outnumber the other things. So it just kind of puts it in a different balance.
How did a year 9, grade 9 student come up with that? How could you achieve such a high magnitude of responsibility? Jeez, who taught you?
My mother. I mean, I do have I owe my mom everything. I feel like if I weren't born into that specific family, I would have done something very reckless by now. It's a bit of trivia, but I've been in a lot of accidents. I owe a lot of things, a lot of people, for how I am right now.
Is your mom on Instagram?
She is.
What a
yeah,
cool
because
mom.
my mom.
She's the source.
She's following you? Yeah, my mom follows me on Instagram and Facebook, so I gotta be responsible. That's yeah, you got me. That's why.
That's fantastic. All right, guys, you know, this is such a good discussion. We definitely have more opportunities for us to even talk more, but I think it's now time for us to go into the next beloved section, and that is the IELTS Face-Off Challenge. So Khánh, you want to take it away and take us to the IELTS Face-Off Challenge? Yeah. Your camera's there. Let's bring it to the IELTS Face-Off Challenge.
Hi, so I'm Khánh, and here is IELTS Face-Off Challenge. Stay tuned.
Can you feel the love tonight?
I most definitely can.
I really love it.
That's basically the demo for our IELTS challenge section. But the thing is, I'm not a good singer, as you could already tell. So how about we recruit the help? We enlist the talent of our great singers here who've got plenty of flair. And this guy who's got the moves with the guitar.
Yeah, we've got the moves.
How does that sound, everyone?
Sounds great.
So,
I'm wondering where the guitar is.
Just the vocals, maybe as silky as they are. It can be a little bit dry, so allow me to add some lubrication.
Lubrication.
So what are we gonna sing in this festive season?
Do you know Jingle Bell Rock?
Yeah, I like that song.
Jingle Bell Rock, right? Okay, I hope I don't butcher this. Okay, I think that's the song.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime in Jingle Bell Town. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air. What a bright time, is the right time to rock the night away. Jingle bell time, it's a swell time to go gliding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and a mingle in the jingling feet. That's a jingle bell rock. That's right.
Dang on guitar, check it out.
Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. Jingle around the clock. Mix and a mingle in the jingling feet. That's the jingle bell. That's the jingle bell. That's the jingle bell rock.
You guys should form a band, the IELTS Face-Off Band. What do you guys think about that? Give a round of applause to the IELTS Face-Off Band!
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You know, I feel super jealous because I'm the only one that hasn't gone outside of the studio in all of these couple of seasons, right? But I'd love to be able to see all of your experiences all collected into one so that I, even though I haven't been anywhere, I can still feel and indulge in those amazing experiences. So we're gonna indulge right here.
That's so emotional. Wow. That's so emotional. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I want to go back in time.
Yeah. You went to Central Vietnam. Well, you know, Tâm, you didn't go on IELTS on the go, but you went to the UK. You went to
Ninh Bình,
Tam Dao, and you went to the northern mountainous regions.
Yeah, the northwest.
The northwest. That's amazing. That's really amazing. Vietnam is so different, right?
Yeah, we've all been to a couple of different regions, and they all have their own thing, definitely for sure. Landscape-wise, food-wise.
It's all about the food, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all. I just can't wait to get to the food.
What about you? What was your experience?
I'm all about the weight loss, so I think I kind of lost a few kilos upon the journey. Walking up a few stairs, having to work in the crazy humidity and the heat, I think that burns a lot of fat. And my wife will be very happy. So yes, I think she'll let me come back for another season maybe.
Yeah. You didn't go around Vietnam for this season, but you did go last season. Yeah, how was that?
This was all very nostalgic for me because I got to be responsible for the southern parts of Vietnam last year, and I traveled all around the neighboring regions that I never got to discover outside of Ho Chi Minh City. And it's really odd because like you live in one place, which is Ho Chi Minh City, and you think it's so big, but then you go further and oh my god, it's so much more grander than I would expect.
Well, you know, we're still going to continue IELTS on the go, whether it's going to be called IELTS on the go or whether it's going to be called another name. That's a mystery to be discovered, but we're definitely going to continue this section in the subsequent seasons of IELTS Face-Off.
Okay, so we're all aware of your support for IELTS on the go. We will answer your desire, your need, but with a different approach. We are planning to reach further, as we're all very ambitious people. We'd like to reach further out to Southeast Asia, to many other countries, to see how they speak English, and you know, that's our vision for IELTS on the go. So don't forget to stay tuned and keep the love going for the show. But for now, it's time to say goodbye to our lovely friends.
Say goodbye and Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Hot time. Come on, let's get together. Woo.
I think we should sing a Christmas song. What's all your voices? Merry Christmas, everybody. Another Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. And of course, no IELTS Face-Off episode is fully complete, especially during Christmas, without the reunion of one of our lovely, dear family members.
Absolutely, and for this very festive season, we have lots of festive presents for you, festive tips. So, how are we going to get all these tips?
Well, it's going to be delivered by somebody with a very delicious name, and you've seen him in previous seasons before.
Please give it up for Richard Sherry. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oops, sandwiched between the two of us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, nice to see you. How are you
Fair
doing?
enough. Not too bad.
Great, great.
Right, have a seat.
Christmas.
All right.
So Richard, it's your third season with us. How has fame come into your life for the past 2 seasons?
Well, you know, I'm walking down the street and people say, hey, you're the IELTS Face-Off guy. And I'm like, well, yeah, you know, it's a new thing for me.
Yeah, we have a couple of tips today, but we do have some questions actually for the audience. Audience, are you guys ready for some questions? So writing essays about graphs, charts, and diagrams must start with an overview. Is this true or false?
I think it's wrong, and I think we have to start with paraphrasing the question first. Yeah, this is my opinion.
All right, thank you. Richard, what
Yeah.
do you think? What are some of your writing tips?
Well, if we're talking about writing task 1, then I think our friend over there might be onto something. So let's say the first part should normally be a paraphrase of the question. And that gives you an opportunity to show the range of, well, in fact, not just your vocabulary, but also a little grammar as well, as you find synonyms to rephrase that original question. Now, the next 2 parts should be the overview, where you summarize the main idea of the information that's provided. And then the third part ought to be, a discussion about the details, or the finer points of the information that's provided. Now, whether the overview should come in the middle or the end is something of a question. I think that for most of us, it's probably a good idea to put it after that introductory paraphrase. I have some colleagues who would argue that it's more logically coming at the end of the writing, but I think you have to be very, very confident about both your English and your timing to do it that way. So yeah, my advice generally for most of us is the paraphrase, the overview, and then continue with details for writing task 1.
So obviously a lot of people know of you as a very tough and strict examiner, and
where do people
now
get that?
here on IELTS FACE-OFF we would like to turn the tables. We'd like to give the people the opportunity to pay back. So now it's time for you to be grilled, our audiences. So would any of you guys like to give him some challenges, maybe chuck a few questions at him about the IELTS test or anything English related at all? Do I see some hands over there?
Ooh, we see quite a number of hands. I love this.
Hello, my name is Khánh. My question is, can we use the phrasal verbs in writing task 2? And if yes, what are the phrasal verbs that we can use?
Okay, well the first thing I should say is that phrasal verbs are more frequently a feature of informal English, and so that makes them less appropriate for writing task 2, where you want to use a more formal register and a more academic style of language. So that is a reason perhaps to stay away from phrasal verbs there. As for your question, which ones should I use? That's almost impossible to answer really, because I mean, the kind of language that you use in response to a given question depends entirely on the question, upon the topic of the question and upon what the question is asking you to do. Yeah, hope that answers your question.
What a solid answer. Any other questions you guys would like to give him?
Yeah, we have another question at the back.
Right there.
Hello everyone. My name is Nhung. I have a question for you. To get band 7 in speaking skills, is it important to use advanced vocabulary?
Thanks for the question, Nhung. It depends a little bit on your definition of advanced, I guess. At one level, band 7 answer is something approaching a C1 level of English, according to the CFR scale. The short answer is yes. But that doesn't necessarily mean using big words or academic words in your speaking answer. It's just using sufficient range to be able to give an answer that is precise and full.
We have a couple of hands over there. Any other hands?
My name is Tưng, and today I have a question. As we probably know, in IELTS writing test, we have many factors to evaluate or assess the score of candidates, like grammar, lexical, or the logic of ideas. So if we have one factor to focus on, what would it be?
Again, it's a difficult question to answer, because you really can't focus on one, because you need to answer 4 different descriptors. If I was to say to you, you know, what do I need to make a cake? Should I focus on the sugar or the flour or the eggs? I'd have to say, sorry, but you really need to use all three.
Do you have enough time for one more question?
We have a lot of time, and we have quite a number of questions that are coming in from online.
Oh,
so
right.
participants and viewers are asking us live questions. I have a couple here. I'm just going to pick out a few. The question is, I really want to increase my listening skill. Right now, I'm at a band 5, and it seems like I cannot increase my listening score.
It's kind of difficult to answer this without knowing the person that we're talking to here. I can just give some very general advice on how people do improve their listening skill. And that is, first, if you're the kind of person that limits yourself to only practicing on IELTS practice test materials, then stop. You should probably be using more of a range of listening materials. It's important for you to listen to and read things that interest you. Consider also that you could be listening to things that are graded to begin with, but you can go to BBC Learning English and find something that is appropriate for your level. The other thing that can be useful is just some ideas. You need to break big listening tasks and reading tasks down into little listening tasks.
If you're still looking for tips, you can still definitely check out all of our social media channels to find tips, especially on Instagram, on Facebook, even on YouTube. We will continue to give you those tips even after the season is over. We have a couple more actually. Quite a number of people sent in their questions. Zhang with a hand asks, how do we calm the nerves before the exam?
Ooh. Many of the people I meet who are preparing to do an IELTS exam are nervous about the part of English that they're not very good with, and they forget about the much bigger part of English that they are very good with. And so if I can remind you that if you're considering doing an IELTS exam, then clearly you have already come a very long way in English. It's possible that you are an excellent user of English, so don't beat yourself up. I know that's kind of easy to say, but nerves are your enemy in this, and if you can do anything to make yourself feel more confident going in, then please try.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much, Richard, for coming by to speak to us, to speak to our audience. Have a blessed New Year and Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
To you and your family.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Well,
Richard has been back, but we're definitely still going to have amazing things coming right up next. So audience, viewers at home, please be prepared for some of the best segments you've ever seen on IELTS Face-Off.
And now, with no further ado, it's time to have a look at our Voice of the Week.
It's not Voice of the Week, darling. It's Voice of the Year.
Oh, darling.
Yeah, this is the last Voice of the Week section in this whole season. We've had hundreds of submissions, and we've had people who came onto the set live to speak to our IELTS expert and perform extremely well on their IELTS speaking, practice test.
Yes, and the following video will be a tribute to all of them. So let's have a look. Job. Not only have you become the champion of all champions, you have also won yourself a trip down under to visit Australia, the land of kangaroos. Let's take a look at one of the universities that could represent what Australia could offer. So you've seen how awesome Australia could be through that video about Macquarie University. Now you also have another chance to take a deeper look, to take a closer look at what Australia could be in our section of Oz 101.
So Christmas season is right upon us, and here in Australia we get to celebrate it in our very sunny 30 degrees weather. And it's such a shame that Michael and the heat don't mix. So he flew back to Vietnam, to Hanoi, and left me here, and he's trusted me to host the very special last episode of Oz 101. So I will take you guys for a tour today around one of the finest government high school in Australia. That's right, today's episode is a big shout out to our younger viewers out there, as we are taking a step back from university and discover the amazing opportunity to study high school in Australia. So let's follow me to our next destination, the New South Wales government schools.
Unlike Vietnam, high school in Australia starts at 7th grade, with its junior years from 7th to 10th. International students who enroll in the junior years have more time to develop their English language skills through language immersion and ESL support from the school. Years 11 to 12 are considered the senior years. This is when students are focused on their HSC, high school certificate, and preparing for the university or vocational training. Depending on your language background and age group, you can easily find a suitable school amongst the 2,000 available in the New South Wales government school system. Run by the New South Wales Department of Education, Australia's largest and oldest education system. All of its schools have dedicated teams of staff and systems to provide strong student support, exceptional teaching, and academic opportunities that challenge students at every level of ability and area of interest.
So the first stop of your Australia journey might look something like this at the Central Sydney Intensive English High School. So students who really need to brush up their English will come here to learn English while learning your main academic curriculums. So students from all over the world in this classroom, they will learn vocabs, English skills, while studying bio or maths. And this is all to make sure that they have a smooth progression into their mainstream high school life.
In Australia, we have a good environment for me to learn English, to develop myself, and in here, the teacher and all the staff in our school is very supportive for us to learn English. For example, like in here, like you can ask with the teacher and have discuss with them through email. It's much easier. In here, you can take a seat after class with the teacher and tell them what is your problem, and then they will find the best solution for you to deal with it.
Whether it's an intensive English center or a high school, New South Wales government schools are highly experienced in educating students from a range of cultural backgrounds and offer high-quality intensive English language programs or ongoing language support to help students to adapt to life in Australia and develop necessary skills for university life.
The reason why I pick a New South Wales government school is because I desire for a better educational system. I believe that New South Wales would give me the opportunity to do so. I would like to consider myself as an outgoing person, and I like to meet people from different backgrounds. And studying at a New South Wales government school allowed me to do so. I'm able to meet new people, new friends, and making connections with teachers. And I believe that by doing so has allowed me to learn more about their life experiences and possibly implement what I learned into my life.
After finishing 10th grade, students will transition into their senior years. In Year 11, students can choose to specialize in their own areas of interest. There are smaller class sizes of 10 to 24 students to ensure more individual attention.
So all of this talk about high school has made me really nostalgic about high school life. So I've taken it upon myself to transform into a senior year at Sydney Secondary College at Blackwater Bay campus. Hey guys! Hi! And I've actually just finished with my economics class. But the next class won't take place here though. It will take place in another classroom, just like how university works. And this does not only allow the teachers to focus on their own field of study, but for the facilities, the classroom, to be specialized to their own courses. So I'm in my Earth Environmental class right now, and we're in this very cool lab doing some very cool experiments on vegetation fuels.
So for international students especially, we get like a lot of supports from teacher, more than any other native students. And so I don't think language is a really big issue for any of the students here. So the staffs, the teachers are really supportive in terms of academic support and also well-being support as well. So we have a special international student coordinator, and she always checks up on us to see whether our homestay is treating us well, and then other friends are getting along with us.
I might not be the best musician, but look how cool it is. Look how much of a music studio this looks like. You've got drums, you've got pianos, you've got ukuleles, and this is all in a high school. And music classroom is one of the multiple disciplines that the New South Wales Government School offers, just to make sure that students do not only pursue their academic careers, but also pursuing their personal interests as well. So I am here with the International Student Coordinator at Sydney Secondary College, Blackwater Bay campus. So can you talk a bit about how the international students are supported here at your school?
Sure. So when our international students arrive at our school, they are all provided with ESL support that can be either an in-class support or can be an individualized support that we do outside of the classroom. And then on top of that, my main role is to ensure that they have support to improve their study skills, as well as helping them with other issues that are well-being related as well.
Okay, so speaking of well-being, it's very difficult for high school students, because it's such a young age, to come here and to adapt to life in a whole different country. So is there any support given to make sure that students are well adapted to life in Australia?
Yeah. So we firstly have a transitioning program when they're still at their intensive English center when they learn English. And then when they come to our school, they would have already met most of their subject teachers and some of the students in the same courses. On top of that, they will be buddied up with the other students at the beginning of the year and be having all these well-being related activities, such as we have a lunch meeting every term, and I take them to do excursions such as to the zoo, to the mountains, to the beach side every semester as well, to get them to know each other better and then to build more friendship amongst each other.
Okay, so that's a very hands-on experience that you're giving the students here, and I'm very sure that they're in very capable hands. Now that you have learned about the exciting opportunity to study in Australia for high school, why wait till university? Let's start your English journey right here, right now in Land Down Under, and I will be seeing you guys very soon. But for now, let's head back to the very Christmassy studio back in Hanoi, and Merry Christmas!
whether you like it or not. We certainly don't like it, but it's time to wrap up our season. But don't forget that our motto for this season, our slogan is reach further. It's not only just a slogan, it's also a message, a promise that we will continue to reach further in the coming years to other countries, to other strange lands, to show you how far IELTS could get you.
You know, it's reach further. Reach further it includes a lot of things, right? But at the end of the day, it's not just us, it's not just our guests reaching further, but it's really about everybody as part of the crew. So what better way to showcase how everybody's reached further? You know, what better way than inviting them to come right here?
Everybody in the house, come in! Let's party it up, guys. Where's the music? I can't hear any music yet. Woohoo!
It's the end of the year. It's the new year. It's the new season. It's amazing global domination. It is wonderful people. It is fantastic. And everybody, join us again. Next time.
I'm partying it up! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, guys!